Alright, so today we're going to propagate Monstera Albo by seeds, and Greg is doing the propagation, and I will show you guys. So what we're going to do, we're using the Jiffy, and he's going to soak it in water. So make sure that the water is warm so it is easy to get this going, and it will expand within 60 minutes, right? So we ordered the seeds online on Etsy, and it's arrived well. So Greg is going to open this and see what happens. So as you can see, it seems the seeds are sprouting, don't you think? Oh, there is one. Look at that. So this is viable. So you can tell that this plant will germinate. Now this is seeds. So we try to grow this. So we're going to place our propagation here in this dome tray. We got this from dollar store, and it is so nice. As you can see, it is cheap. It bends easily, but hey, you know, it's better than nothing. And this is only $1, so so we will put our propagation in this dome.
Two.
What is it?
You can open and close the vent at the top too. So for
true.
$1, what can you complain, right? The only thing you're doing is keeping the air out.
It's just like making cake, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we're using the perlite to fill the bottom, so the Jiffy will sit on the top to keep the moisture and wetness of the Jiffy instead of having it dry out. So I rinse this, so just remove the powdery, and we're going to fill in our dome. Alright, so going to okay, so we fill this this in a mid up to the mid section, fill with perlite, label it up, and okay. So the next step, we're going to sow the seed. All right, so we have the Jiffy, and so he's going to squeeze the remaining water and place the seed. Make sure the root is in it. Create a hole on it so it is easy to. There you go. Alright, so easy breezy. That's good.
I don't want too much water in there. Another one.
Okay. You can even put closer, it doesn't affect.
Doesn't matter. Only putting 6 of them in here.
I mean, the JP put them a little bit closer one another.
Doesn't matter.
So you have space, yeah?
They got plenty of space.
Okay. Okay, so this is the seeds in place, and Greg is going to place the dome on top of it, and we will place this on top of the heating mat. Alright, so let's go to the area where we can propagate this. Okay, so he's placing the tray here. This is a heating mat. I place towel on the top of the mat to keep the heat from not overheating. Alright, that's it. So we will follow up you guys once these seeds are growing. So probably it will grow within 2 weeks. Alright, so in today's video we're going to talk about Monstera propagation. So this would be propagating Monstera by node cutting and also propagating by seeds. So stick with me. I'm going to bring Greg here because he's going to explain it to you guys what to do with your Monstera cuttings and how to get it successful in your propagation. But actually we share our failure here so you can see if it is a good wise to buy Monstera cuttings or what to do. So stay tuned. All right, so Greg is here, Marcelina here.
Good afternoon, guys. How are you today? And good to see you. Haven't had a video in a week or so, but today we want to go over the propagation of Monstera using node cuttings.
So that is variegated.
This is a beware. We went to a plant show last month and purchased some Deliciosa Albo variegated node cutting and paid about $40 for this.
Actually, that was $60 and you got a good price.
Well, because it was towards the end of the show. And this was already pre-packaged when we got it. And it was $40.
Mm-hmm.
$40, still price still on there. And I got it. It's in the chunky wood chips with the charcoal and all the other good stuff that they put in there for philodendrons. And we watched and monitored for the first couple weeks, and then suddenly started noticing that the ends started to become blackened.
Mm-hmm.
And when it reached about 1/4 of an inch, I took a sterilized razor blade and cut that off and sealed it with a sterilized spray, and it still continued to blacken, and eventually it did die. It only had one air root. Here's the
That's
cutting
pitiful.
right here.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody would like to buy this for $10, it's on sale right now. This is a chance to get an Albo variegated node really cheap.
Oh my goodness.
It never got any. Nothing happened. It didn't do anything. So
there was an aerial root.
It had an aerial root, but the aerial root is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
When you're buying a cutting from any type of propagation, it was a little bit longer. It was about this long, but it was only one node.
I think that was freshly cut.
When you buy a node right here where the air root and the node is, you want to see some type of a little budding coming out in between the crotch of the air root and the node here. If you don't see that, don't buy the node. I see them all the time on Etsy and eBay and all these other places. They're selling these like crazy, and they're getting a lot of money for these things. A lot of them are coming from Sri Lanka. Don't buy anything from Sri Lanka.
We had order from Sri Lanka.
I've had 2 orders from Sri Lanka. They never arrive after 4 months, and when you go check on them, they say that this seller is no longer with Etsy or whatever, so stay away from Sri Lanka. These cuttings they're making a lot of money off of these things, and if you're getting the variegated, you want to see some variegation in the stem node right there. You want to see some white and green variation, which this one did, and he's a local grower from Akron, Ohio, but you don't want to buy these node cuttings if they don't have the little budding coming out of here, or that's more important than the roots that are coming off of here, because without that leaf coming out, you're not going to have any type of nutrients for this plant, and you're not going to have any like a photosynthesis taking place, and that's what feeds us.
Because Monstera Albo is variegated, that is the problem, and it is expensive because of the coloration of the plant, and that is why it is expensive. But think about this variegation. If it is the white spot of the leaves, normally is not doing in the plant, and it's just there. And if it is too much variegation, you have lower success, or sometimes it dies on you. So make sure that when you buy a Monstera Albo, buy that there is leaf, so that like green leaf, instead just one stem with no leaf, because
I'll put a picture right here with a node that you would want to buy, and it meets the requirements for a much higher success of propagation. Now, you're going to pay maybe $30-$40 for one of these little node cuttings.
And
I'm going to tell you what, you're better off with seed germination than you are with node cuttings. Node cuttings we think are going to get instant gratification, whatever. But when you buy the seeds, say you buy 10 seeds for $20, you got a lot better chances of getting one plant out of the 10. If you get 1 out of 10, that was a success, right? But if you get more than one, now you're in the positive. And the only thing you want to make sure is that it is the seeds of what you bought, okay? Because you will have a lot of guys that will over there from other countries that will sell you seeds, but it's not the type of seeds that you thought you were buying. So that's a caveat. Read when you buy them from seeds from somebody online. Check their ratings, see how many sales they've had. Read the reviews from other purchasers who bought these seeds and see
a good seller,
truly are what they say they are. And
now, for those of you watching this video, and especially for those of you who are just starting to grow Monstera, now a lot of people asking, can you keep the variegation longer? Well, it is the variegation that the plant mutate itself. So I know it hurts. Like if you have Monstera Albo right now and there is too much white in the plant, and I would say cut off a little bit of that white because it
white means
is
no
really
photosynthesis. There's
it's
no
really struggling your plant. Your plant is not doing well.
Yeah.
And I know that's why we buy Monstera because of the white color, but actually it is not doing anything to the plant, and it just died by itself.
If you get a leaf cutting or a stem cutting and it's an all white leaf, good luck, because that plant may as well have no leaf on it because it's not going to produce any photosynthesis. You're better off if it was a solid green, and the future leaves will then mutate with the white in it.
So what is your best advice for those who are collecting Monstera and it's just the beginners? What is your advice to grow Monstera? It is better to grow with the node or better to grow by the plant that has a leaf? Or
well, the plant with a leaf is good. If you find a plant with a leaf and it has a couple roots growing on it, that's your best success.
I think so.
That's your best success. But what's the best media to propagate them in? You can do it in the
perlite is
in this, or you can do it in the. This is the bark mix, so you can do it in the perlite, and I think or sphagomoss.
Sphagomoss,
but the perlite I think is the best. It's going to hold even temperature, and why I wouldn't use sphagomoss is because it is a haven for fungus gnats.
And it rots the stem too.
Yeah, fungus gnats love the sphagomoss. They go in there and they lay their eggs, and it's just really nasty. They're nasty little flies, and they are hard as all get out to get rid of. Spray it with neem oil mixture, and that will kill them. But that's the seeds is interesting. We ordered 6 seeds. They came from Florida, and they wrapped them in wet paper towels. By the time I got them, which arrived yesterday, they already had 2 of the seeds had already tapped out and started to sprout. So if I got 2 of them right off the bat that are already sprouting, and the other ones look really good too. They're nice sized seeds. So that's a fun little project for you.
So try seeds. So the next video would be propagating seeds. So watch that video again. I think it is good if you want to grow Monstera Albo. Probably better to have leaves.
Are we putting the seeds on this video?
Yes.
Yes. This
so
is
the
a
next video,
combination of seeds and stem cutting. Propagating.
I know it is cheaper to buy the node, but the risk of success,
fungal infection is the biggest problem.
Yes, because the longer the propagation, the greater the risk of infection.
And your Albo Deliciosa, they are slow growers, so they're not real fast. So you got a greater chance of the fungal disease growing from stem cuttings with the Albo.
Do you know there was a woman in Australia? She said she bought Monstera Albo, the whole plant, for $4,000. It's a small plant, but the reason for that, she said it's already established. And within 5 years, she cut the Monstera and then propagated by itself.
And by the time she got to that size to start to propagate it, the price of Monstera went down to $150, right?
But it goes up again.
Yeah, in 5-10 years it'll go back up again.
So I think it's better to buy established plant. I know it's expensive, but I think at least you know it.
Depends on what you're growing it for. If you're growing it for your own pleasure, you're growing it to retail and to resale.
Yeah. It's hard, you know, to...
You're better off buying the bigger plant if you're going to grow it
invest
for resale
it if you want to
as
invest
an investment, because the prices on these more expensive plants have a short window of getting that kind of money out of your plants.
And you need, and also if you are going into Monstera, you need to understand the nature of the plant and where it comes from, because the variegation is really, that's why it is expensive, because it is rare and it is so finicky.
Well, that brings up another point. If you're online and you're buying, say, from eBay or Etsy, and you're buying cuttings or you're buying plants, like
got
these
a half
expensive
moon.
plants, and you see, look where it's coming from. If it's coming from Indonesia, if it's coming from Thailand or Sri Lanka, don't forget that that plant has to go through customs. When it goes through customs, they have to have a certificate on that plant. And this plant is going to take a month or so before it gets to your door. How well is that plant going to be doing sitting in Asia, where the temperatures could be very high, sitting inside of a box with no air ventilation, no water, and people throwing that box around from one container to another, from the truck to the airplane, from the airplane? And then how long is it going to be sitting in customs before U.S. Customs gets a chance to inspect that plant to make sure it is what it says it is on the outside? So if it's a living plant, I'd be real skeptic about buying plants from over there, and I haven't had any luck with buying plants from overseas.
We lose money on that.
Yeah, I stay away from overseas sellers. Prices look great, the pictures look great, and I see a lot of the people using the same pictures in different sellers. So I don't think they're even advertising what they're selling. Some people go over there and purchase their plants in person and then have them flown over on a plane directly. I don't know. They still have to go through customs, though. They want to make sure they're not bringing diseases and insects into our country that we don't have here, and then introduces a new variety of problems for us. But
yeah,
that's
so
all I have today.
That is the failure, guys. Failure of propagation. It is risky, and it is a challenging propagating Monstera Albo by node. So it is a challenge because there is not enough chlorophyll in it. Even though you increase the lighting in your propagation, but the too much white, that it slow the rotting.
And if you guys like this information that we're sharing with you guys today, click down below where it says subscribe. Become part of our growing family of Cassia Greens, and we love to see you guys follow our channel. We do a lot of citrus and a lot of roses and other type of philodendrons, a lot of different kind of plants that we enjoy growing, and different type of methods of growing, advanced agricultural techniques. So this is Cassia Greens. This is Greg Stevens saying peace out. Marcelina Noss saying peace out. Later.